Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we will be talking about the Dogecoin market. I made a post previously on Dogecoin, and since it is getting much attention here on June 14th, since it's getting much attention here, I would like to talk about it. I intentionally didn't post anything below it, but I would like to scan through it. We do not like to leave or abandon this project. We like to look through it to see if we can remind ourselves and see what we can add to it to publish it or to make it more certain to trade. So as we continue, I would like to set my while loop that since I'm not a native English, you understand, you have to pardon me, you understand. So let's continue. So I would like to introduce this number series known as the Gann number, the Gann square of 12, or the natural nodal representation. These are the square of 12s, very important number series. The first square of 12, 12 times 12, the second square of 12, third square of 12, fourth square of 12, and so on and so forth. Now we will be looking at the market trends here, the vectors, the vectors here, and we will see that these numbers will influence most of the time and price axis, and the vectors here, the vector space here, and this will be our point of discussion. We will be scanning through. Honestly, I've forgotten most of the things that I did here because the knowledge was very fresh. So let's see if we can remind ourselves and add, see what we can add to it. So quickly, let's go through it. The first point, the origin year in 2013 December, you can see the movement was very flat here. There wasn't much energy in the market. You can see vector AB traveled 2 weeks, and the vector here was 212. So the vector here is the same or quite similar or approximate or equivalent to the number of weeks traveled, because the PTV was flat, the vector was flat and parallel to the time axis. Similar here, you can see BC traveled 144 weeks and the PTV was 155 points per week. Now when we measure the vector per month rather than the per weeks, you can see we have 52 points here, we have 52 points per month here, which makes these two vectors similar, equivalent. That means if we ideally or theoretically draw another PTV joining these two vectors, these two vectors, that is AC, we will be forming an isosceles triangle. We will be talking about isosceles triangle in the nearby future. Again, we can see the market was very flat up until 2020 here, and it's exactly 7 years from the start of the day the market started trading. That means this the 7 year cycle I mentioned in the previous videos. So let's dive into it. Let's find the relationship between these PTVs and these numbers here first. Now we can see the first number 144. 144, how is 144 related to these PTVs? Now this PTV 121, when we multiply 144 by 1.5, we get 121. And when we multiply 121 by 144, 121 by 1.5, we get 325 here. 325 is the theoretical vector AC. Because the axis is very flat, we can represent the vector by the time period here. which is 3 to 5 weeks here. So 3 to 5 weeks is related to 212 and 144. What this means is if you take the arithmetic mean between 325 and 144, this will be the midpoint here. So this is how this is related to this number series. Again, as we can see, the energy in this market was very low. Market was moving very slow here up until 2020 when energy was added into the system. Same as I mentioned earlier, this market is like any other aspect of science. So we can use the physical and chemical laws to explain. It's like the atomic theory when electrons moving around the nucleus of an atom. When energy is added, you can see the electron jump from the lower shells to the higher shells. So you can see when energy was added, you see price moved moved away from this point here up here. So the energy level he in this period is quite different from the energy level here. So what this means is because the energy levels are different and we are now in a fast moving market here, we will be using days. We will be measuring our PTVs in days rather than in weeks here. So our first PTV here, and again before we continue, we can see the time distance between A and D, that is from the first low or major low to D, that is the major high. We have 386 386 weeks. We will talk about it. Let's first talk about these PTVs. Now if we come here, we can see that the first PTV that describe the decline here, we had 584 units. All right, here we had 19193 units. Here we have 426 units. And from this point to this point, we had 675 units. When you add all of these PTVs that I've mentioned together, you get 7. I didn't represent it here. 7 also part of the natural representation. That's the fifth square of 12. The fifth square of 12 is 720. So let's continue. It's 720. When you add them, this is a phenomenon, or this is a strategy, or a phenomenon called partitioning. Partitioning, we'll talk about it very shortly. Now we have DG, the entire price movement from top to bottom. We have traveling at 58 weeks. Now we can see 50 appearing here again. 58 weeks. The entire PTV was 692 points. 692 points. We'll talk about how 692 points is synchronized with this number series here. So let's continue. Okay, so I want to also point out that when you visualize this price movement, you can visualize this as a tunnel here, and this is the entry point. And as price is moving through the tunnel here, the first hit the tunnel top here before it came down here. It's like throwing a ball within the tunnel. how the ball will move through the tunnel until finally coming out of the tunnel here. So this is the entry. Let's consider this as the price or a ball being thrown into a tunnel, and as price entered the tunnel here price failed to touch the top of this tunnel because there wasn't much energy in the market here. And since price was bounced from this tunnel head, we have not had price going back to touch it. Price sank below this tunnel here. So we have a tunnel within tunnel. There's a larger tunnel here. I've deleted it. So this tunnel too, we can imagine this is the first entry. Let's picture this as the first entry of this tunnel. And as price entered this tunnel here, this is the point of entry. So we will take our pivot from here. This is a very important point. It's a point of entry, and the PTV, the first PTV, is very important here. So we will see price moving through this tunnel here. First, there wasn't much energy in the market, so the tunnel, the price couldn't reach the tunnel head. So there was a partitioning, there was an adjustment in PTV. We can see price coming back to retest the bottom of the tunnel, then price gaining much energy to touch the top of this tunnel. When we add these PTVs together, we will be getting the second square of the fifth square of 12 rather. Pardon me. We'll be getting the fifth square of 12, which is the 720. When you add this smaller until it gain much energy, there's a phenomenon called the partitioning. I think if we had more time, I will go much into it, but I don't think it's necessary here. I just want to point out. And when you add these PTVs here to the major ones, that's causing the major things here, 1, 2, 3, 4. When you add them together, we will be getting the 13 square of 12. So 13 square of 12 is 1872. 1872. When we add 144, we will get the 13 square of 12. This will give us, these PTVs will give us the 13th square of 12. So as you can see, all these PTVs is adding up to the natural nodal representation here. Again, since we are taking this place as our new origin and pivot, now this tunnel here will be our major focus here. And we can see price moving within the tunnel, testing the top of tunnel and crashing down here. Now price is moving. This was my previous projection. You can see how price dropped from the point I noticed, and now price is moving. I expect price to be stabilized around this area up until October 27th, October 30th, Monday, before we get another bull run upcoming. So let's explain the internals quickly. Time is not on our side. From the pivot here to the first major high, we had 144 weeks. We can see from the projection, where is it? We had 144 weeks to the major high. We are 144, 141 here. To the low here, we have 229. We have 228 here. Then from this point to this point is 3. We are expecting market to stabilize, and more energy to be added to the system for the spike, for the upcoming crypto bull. And we have a duration from when we measure time from August 2023 up after 438 days, which is similar to this 432 days. That's our timeline to monitor here. That I will advise, based on my market advice, per from this evidence, we expect the crypto bull run to occur from there, from that point. So before we move to the price axis, let's talk about this small uh, figure here, this small rectangular figure here. From when we measure the time axis from this point O to the high that tested the tunnel top here, we have 171 weeks. 171 week, when we measure the price axis from that same low to that same high, we also have 171 points. That means we have time and price balancing here, and that there's a square that time and price have square out, and there's a square formed here within the market. That's why we had this nice movement here. So this is a one by one angle here. There's a square here. So since we have identified a square here, we can project or grow this square to find the limit of growth here. And the diagonal here is 4242. And to grow a squares grow along 8 diagonals. It's like the cell theory, the mitosis and meiosis. And because of time, I will not mention much into it. So when we grow a square, we will get a 1.414 rectangle, and the inverse of this 1.414 rectangle is 0.707. When we add that 0.7 figure to the square here, this is the figure that we will get. So this is where we expected price to, this is where we measure time, the price action to be contained. So when we draw the spiral within here, the spiral within this rectangle, which will govern the growth here, we can see this what do you call it, this trend lines here defined support and resistances here. This was a resistance, now serving as support here for this rally here. Now these spirals, these diagonals that form the spiral here are now serving as support and resistances here. So it is truly evident that price, this will be the low point or the point of reference. Previously this was my point of reference, but price breaks slightly below it to retest this trend line here and has started moving up. As we can see, we have our point of reference, the point where we expect much energy to be added to the system, will happen up until 5, 6, 8 weeks from the beginning of the time this Dogecoin was traded, and is very similar or synonymous to this number, which is the fourth square of 12. When we look at the price axis to since we made our first major top here after 386 weeks, when we square this price into time, you have our price level, our first price level at 368 weeks. This will be let's continue in the next video, part 2. Time is up, time is not on our side. Check back. Better still, we can see something before the time elapses. So this 386 weeks on the fire expansion, we have the 366 weeks, and we have this. We expect a bull run within the time limit that I may do another video.
Quickly, one peculiar thing I forgot to add was the Doge market synchronicity with the Bitcoin market and the soybean market. I think I made mention of it, but I would like to prove it how the movement are similar. The Doge market is leading the Bitcoin market is leading the Dogecoin market. So we can see this similar formation forming within the Bitcoin market during the 2017 to 2020 September, right? Now we can see the same thing happening here, and it spent 3 years. This structure formed after 3 years, and we are having this same structure forming after 3 years. So as you can see, we have a bottom here, a high here, here. Then this is our boundary point where we are expecting much energy to be added. So we are experiencing similar spike in price here. So as you can see from this point, we have a bottom here, then a top, then a bottom, then a top here. Then this decline, which was this one, this red decline here, is starting. Price is recovering. As you can see, price recovered here and stable around here and accumulated much energy, and again find support here before the rally. Same thing is happening now. Price is recovering. You can see we are expecting price to accumulate along this time price as have indicated here before the bull run similar to this one. So quickly, this was what I wanted to point out. So expect similar movement here. Thank you.